What can you do if your spouse is selfish, prideful, angry, and gets easily angry or embarrassed? Or I like the way another person said it. What do you do with your spouse if it's their way or the highway?
Hmm. Yeah. That's a tough situation, and I
Mm-hmm.
think the first thing I always would suggest for people to do though is to pray. Pray about the situation.
Hmm.
Pray for God to reveal anything to you that He would want you to do different. Pray for your spouse, and then look for that opportunity to sit down as you get that to sit down and talk to your spouse. Set aside a
Hmm.
time to where you won't be interrupted and just be able to pour your heart out. These are the things that I think are going on in our marriage that really I think are affecting us in a negative way. And I'd like for us to talk about a way to do things different or to go to counseling
Hmm.
or whatever it would be. And I think and most husbands, when you really are able to not be angry when you're talking back to your
Hmm.
spouse, will hear that. And
Hmm.
hopefully we'll decide to work on that together or go to counseling together or whatever it would take. Because some guys, honestly, just don't know. I mean, they grew up
Hmm.
maybe in a home where they had a bad role model that didn't work out well, and so, but that was their role model. That was their textbook of
Hmm.
being a husband, and so some guys, it's just like that. I'll see in counseling, it's just like they didn't really know better. I mean, they kind of did. They knew what they're doing wasn't
Hmm.
great, but they didn't have any modeling of what to do different. And so, I think that would be something that could happen in a number of situations. And so the guy will respond and you guys get help and you move forward. If it's
Hmm.
an abusive situation, that's a totally different situation. Like we always say, if you're in an abusive situation, get out.
Hmm.
Not, we don't say
Hmm.
divorce, but separate. Get yourself safe, get your kids safe, whatever needs to be in that situation. If the anger gets out of control or any of these things, if they're abusive in any way, that you want that separation. And I think
Hmm.
sometimes that's going to really help with somebody. Uh, Narcissistic behavior kind of falls in the same with that. Probably someone with narcissistic personality disorder is not going to care if you leave because it's all about them anyway. But I think
Hmm.
there are those different
Hmm.
situations, and I think the one that we're going to talk about today more is just kind of regular marriage problems that just are frustrating, and it's not what you dreamed of,
Hmm.
it's not what you wanted, and you want your marriage to be different in those areas. The abusive,
Hmm.
narcissistic things are really just deeper and it would be handled in
Hmm.
some very different ways because he may not respond to what you would say, what we're going to talk about today, in the same way someone who's just hadn't really put the effort into being the husband God wants him to be.
Hmm. Yeah. Well, so I guess a follow up question to that: if somebody's not sure, if they just are really they can't tell if they are in an abusive situation or not. There's some situations I feel like you probably maybe need some affirmation or some clarity. Where would you send people to figure that out?
David Clark, who has become a friend and has done some great work in this area, but his book Eight Enough
Mhm.
is Enough starts at eight is enough, but Enough is Enough is a really good way to listen through that and see what your situation really is because he covers it all.
Mhm.
He covers it well. That's basically what his ministry is to uh, couples in these kind of situations. And so I think it'd
Mhm.
be really helpful. And so if you listen to that and you're checking all the boxes, then probably you are in one of those abusive or narcissistic type situations.
Mhm.
And if you're not, it will help you see, okay, this is what I need to do. But I think
Mhm.
there's always hope in either one. David never recommends divorce at all. He recommends separation at
Mhm.
times for safety, for security, and to send a message. And hopefully, the husband responds and gets help and is able to build a marriage. And I've seen that happen. I've seen situations,
Mhm.
and it's hard to get to that point where you feel like you need some separation for a period
Mhm.
of time. But when it's done, it's structured. You both go to counseling, and the goal is to reconnect and have a better marriage. I've seen couples do that and have
Mhm.
a totally different marriage than they had before.